Protection is one of the most essential foundations of magic because it safeguards your energy, it safeguards your spirits and your intention from unwanted influences. When you open yourself up to magical work, whether through spellcasting, divination, spirit communication, you'll also open up energetic doors. Hi, I'm Gayle the Witch Next Door, and welcome to your Wild Wisdom series, where we're going to deep dive over the next 2 episodes on protection magic for beginners. Protection magic acts as both a shield and as a boundary, so it's essential as part of any new practitioner's toolbox in order to understand how to work with protection magic in all of its forms. So we're going to go through the top 10 things that you should be considering. It keeps your aura clear, your home energetically safe, and your spells focused as well. That's a really important one, and it's also helping you keep true to your will. So every seasoned witch practice regularly protects, and that can be in a number of ways, and we're going to go through those 10 steps. In the first episode we will go through the first 5, and then we'll come on to the last 5 as well. So let's get into it. Chapter 1, let's talk about grounding ourselves. So grounding is much more than just going and sticking our toes in the dirt, although that is a great way to really ground into the energy of the earth and get those magnetic charges into us. However, grounding is a fundamental part of protection because it anchors you in to your own energy, and that's crucial, right? You need to imagine, if you want to ground and you can't get yourself outside, imagine roots growing out from the bottoms of your feet and connecting deep to that earth. Meditation practice is great for really visualization on that grounding. But if you struggle with visualization, you can also hold things. So I absolutely adore holding on to one of my wooden wands because it's connected to that tree and especially oak energy that I use, and I can then work with that energy to really anchor in before I do any spell work. But this isn't just around spell work, this is just about day to day. If we're feeling untethered, we're feeling unbalanced, that still needs for us to protect our own energy so that we're not susceptible to the energies around us being absorbed, especially when we feel unbalanced. So hugging a tree can work just as well. You can hold a tree, and I would say do that for around 20 seconds at the bare minimum. If you could do more, absolutely do more. You could also sit with your back to a tree as well if you're out in nature, and it doesn't look so obvious as a tree hugger. But like I said, I've also got a wand that I use to anchor myself and ground into that energy. You can visualize the roots. You can hold a branch. It doesn't have to be a fancy wand, but then you can use it into a wand. But also putting the toes in the soil is a great way, but we can't always do it. Walking on the beach, all of those kind of things really help us ground into the energy, and meditation is also a fabulous way to do that when we can't get out in nature. So I do a monthly meditation on Patreon. So if you're new to meditation, make sure you join us over there. We all connect on Zoom and then we have a chit chat. But this is a great way, if you're new to meditation, to really join us in community and learn how to do it. So I'll see you in chapter 2 when we are talking about centering our energy. So in chapter 2, we're going to be talking about centering our energy. And centering is the act of pulling the energy back into our core. So there's a fundamental difference than grounding. So grounding into your body and heart feel balanced and calm and in control, but centering is bringing that energy in and really taking control of what that energy means. So when you work with magic, your energy naturally expands and interacts with things around you and people. So centering is one of those things that helps you really come back to self when you can feel scattered or drained, and you can take on the energy from others. So when we think about centering versus grounding, centering is about bringing energy and focus back to our core self, and that's about an inner balance point. So that's really important to know the difference between that and grounding. It feels like being calm and present and in control of our emotions. So that's a really key thing to centering. So if you're overstimulated or feeling challenged in a situation, the way to come back to yourself and to center your energy is to close your eyes and take some deep breaths. That pure moment of reflection helps you to recenter and rebalance who you are. You can visualize your thoughts and emotions in a calm and considered way. So this is about feeling awareness into your body. Think of centering as aligning to your inner world. That is what centering is. So when we look at grounding, the purpose is to connect our energy into the earth and feel really balanced. Also, it can be releasing excess energies that we need to release as well in order to be stable. So when you do grounding, it feels like you are safe and connected and in control versus centering where you're feeling balanced within yourself. So grounding is really important when you've got intense emotions, you're doing psychic work, and you're feeling unbalanced. Sticking your toes in the earth, going to hug a tree is really important to come back to ground. So think of grounding as anchoring your energy to the earth, and centering is coming home to yourself. So I'll see you in chapter 3, where we're going to talk about cleansing our space as a form of protection. So welcome to chapter 3, where we are talking about cleansing our space as a form of protection. And interestingly, I get asked this by a lot of witches because I don't think we always correlate cleansing as a form of protection, but it absolutely is, because we're cleansing away negative energy and making sure that we then bring in good energy around us. So cleansing isn't just about smoke, although this is a fabulous way to cleanse your energy with incense and herb bundles like rosemary and green sage. We don't use white sage around here. And if you're ever unsure about that, make sure you drop me a message where I can explain why I don't use white sage in my practice, and why you probably shouldn't either when you know about the history around it. But you can also use sound, like clapping and singing and dancing. And then you can also use things like salt water as well, because salt's really good at purification. And then you can cleanse like doors and handles, and some of your tools and instruments as well. It's a perfect way to cleanse some of your equipment. Crystals are equally as good. I love crystals. Actually, I've got some here. So I use this selenite bowl in order to cleanse my jewellery. And I put that in every single night, and it cleanses any energies that have been holding on to that jewellery. Plants are also a fantastic way to cleanse space. They are purification. And here's my spider plant. It's like I'm on Blue Peter. Here's some things to show you. But plants are a fantastic way to cleanse space. They cleanse the energy, and you can set the intention to ask them to do specific things around the house as well. That's probably a whole other video about plants and cleansing and protection. But these are just a few ways in order to cleanse your space. Make sure that you're ridding any unwanted energies, because it's really important as part of protection. Boundary setting as a form of protection. Now, this is a well-known fact, and we talk about it all the time. Saying the word no is a really strong way of protecting our space, but boundaries are so undervalued when we're looking at our witchcraft practice. We're always looking at physical ways in order to bring in protection, like lighting the black candle and cleansing, and all those things are really important, as we've discussed in this first episode. But actually, setting your boundaries and making sure that your energy is sacred to you, it deserves protection. You shouldn't be letting people into your space to unground you or uncenter you, or take away the protections that you're putting in for yourself. Your energy and self-respect is sovereignty. So you should really think about how you go about your daily life and protect your boundaries. And you can say things like an incantation. You can do this on a daily basis or when you feel the need. Saying things like, only energies that serve my highest good may enter my space. It's a really simple way to protect your boundaries. Like if you're walking into a shitty meeting or into a family environment that needs you to just reinforce those boundaries before you walk into it. Words are power, and your boundaries are your sovereignty. So you really need to lean into that. And language creates our reality. So when we're saying out loud what we want to allow into our space and what we don't want to allow into our space, that shapes how we're going to protect ourselves as well. Using powering words like when you're speaking to yourself as well is a really great way of protecting your boundaries. You're speaking kindly about yourself because you are worth that effort. You are a sovereign being. And speaking protection and peace into your space regularly is a perfect way to protect yourself. And it's a really vital and key way when you're starting to work in the magical space. So let me know what you thought about the boundary protection. It's one that we often overlook, but it's actually a crucial one to protecting ourselves. And I'll see you in chapter 5. We're going to talk about creating a protective shield. This is visualizing a sphere or a bubble around you. And you can use colour magic in this as well. So like white for purity, black for warding and protection, gold for strength. And then you can refresh this bubble every single day. It could be something you can start the day with and create this sphere of protection around yourself. It only is enhanced by using colour magic in that as well. But black is great for bouncing back energy. So if you really want to reflect things and not let them into your space at all, that is the way that I would do it. But actually a protective shield is a perfect way in order to protect ourselves on a daily basis, and you can do it at any point in the day. As you're walking into that room, as you're walking out of the room, protective shields are perfect. So I'll see you in episode 2, where we're going to talk about 5 more ways beginners can practice protection magic, and thanks for watching.